now return to Let's Play Suzerain. Our railway project is only halfway done. They said it was going to take 2 years to get done, which means we must only be about 1 year through. That's the unfortunate only way to tell time here, I guess. Anyway, Lockhaven. The dinner with the business council members at the restaurant Asteria in Lockhaven. We were in Lockhaven to work with the business council to assess weaknesses in the economy. Simon organized a dinner with the affluent economic figureheads of Sordland. When we arrived, the streets were bustling with activity, even though the atmosphere in the country was tense. Lockhaveners didn't seem very worried. Together with Walter Tusk, Edith Agnock, Mikhail Avon, and Simon Hole, we entered the renowned Asteria restaurant by the coast. Okay, who is this? Walter Tusk, yeah, we know him. Edith Agnock, a Swordish economist and banker who served as chairwoman of the Central Bank of Sordland. She is the first woman to hold the position, also became first woman to serve as president of the bank in the world. Of a bank in the world. Agnock is known in Sordland as the adopted daughter of the first president, Artur Rishi. According to official sources, Rishi met her during his visit in Narble. Okay. After learning her story, her miserable living conditions, and her desire to study at the university, Rishi decided to adopt her and financed her education. Okay, after Lutheran's military coup, Rishi's arrest, Agnock fled to Lesbia, where she lived. She moved to Arcasia after the death of her father and started working at one of the largest investment firms, Crane Capital, in Ventry City. Okay. In 1951, she was invited by Alfonso to return to Sordland to help with the crisis. On her return, she was appointed chairwoman of the central bank. She was selected as the only female economist for the cover of the 20 greatest economists in history. Okay, Mikhail Avon, Swordish businessman, economist, and statesman who serves as co-chair of the National Business Council of Sordland. Born in Lenkirk, Agenland, to Agno-Swordish family, Avon studied economics in Lockhaven Business School before starting work at Gassam. In the 1930s, he worked as a financial advisor and later project director for the corporation. In 1940, he started working with OMEC, where he contributed extensively to Agenland's economic planning. He gained nationwide reputation for his work in the city of Arvery throughout the 1940s, which helped the city go through an economic boom. Avon was later transferred to OMEC's Agnolia headquarters, where he oversaw the economic guidance of fishing settlements. He's international fame. Okay. And then we know Simon Hall. A short blond man, whose embroidered pocket read "Manager," greeted us and waved his arms in excitement as he told us how pleased he was to have us in his establishment. Beaming with pride, he led us to a private room and got us seated at a large table, covered for the occasion with a maroon tablecloth. We were quickly served by a group of servers. Walter spoke as they started taking our orders. "I recommend the Lockhaven salmon, President. You have to taste this local delicacy here, the best in Sordland." Sure. I ordered Lockhaven salmon for the main course. The servers took their notes and asked us about the second dish. Just the salmon. Really? I don't know. Does this matter? Does this matter? I'm trying to think now. We read about the countries, or the provinces, rather. Where are we? This is Narja's territory, right? Lockhaven, Sordland. What region is this? Does this actually, honest to God, not tell me what region this is? I think it's Nargis. Largest region, yeah, it is, okay. Vibrant economy, trade center, untapped resources, heavy oil. Okay, that's not the one I want. Agenland is an agricultural area. What do you grow? I'm just wondering if this has a thing. Like, if I order the rice, I prefer Burgio, whereas if I order salad, I prefer Agenland or something like that. I think it's ridiculous that that would be a thing, and I'm definitely overthinking this, but you never know. Coastal towns, I mean, it's mostly fishing and stuff, really. Whatever. I'll have the salad. The servers placed glasses in front of each of us and served bread and water. After they were done taking orders, they quickly left us alone in the private room. Mr. President, I didn't have the possibility to thank you for coming today. Your presence means a great deal. Indeed, sir. It's an honor to dine with you. Likewise. We should thank Simon for organizing this meeting. No need for that. I hope everyone enjoys the evening. Simon gestured at the expensive-looking red wine bottle that one of the servers had just brought to the table. Mr. President? I mean, I guess? Like, I'm definitely not a teetotaler, but I do normally... I definitely normally abstain from stuff like this, but I guess I'm like... Nod? Sure, nod. Nod. We'll take it. I nodded at him. He started to carefully pour some wine in my glass and waited for me to taste it before filling it up. I took a sip. It was bitter. Honestly, it tasted like any other wine. I feel that way about wine, too. How is it? Is the taste to your liking? What the hell? I'm no wine connoisseur. It's fine. What? This wine doesn't even need testing. Should I fill your glass, or would you want another drink, sir? That's okay. I'll take it. Simon filled up my glass. After filling everybody's glasses, Simon stood up and raised his glass. I'd like to raise a toast to all of you here today. We're meeting here tonight in difficult times, but I believe that with hard work, cooperation, and trust, we'll get through this period as well. I'd like to thank Mr. Rayne again for his decisiveness when it comes to economic policies. I'm sure we will stop this recession. I also thank Mr. Tusk for being here with us today. His presence is an honor. And of course, my colleagues from the Business Council, Mrs. Agnock and Mr. Avon. Without you, none of these would even be possible. Something I've noticed. It seems to me, okay, there's 3 lines right there, but it seems to me all lines are kept to 2 in this, which is kind of nice, I guess, for keeping track of who you're talking to. It's just interesting. Like, the unnecessary reason for this, for example, ... to then finish your sentence. That's just what made me notice it. Anyway, let's drink to future cooperation and growth. For a prosperous Sordland. Everyone raised their glasses and toasted each other. After a couple more minutes, the servers arrived with our meals. The food tasted amazing. Walter was right. This place must have been the best place in all of Lockhaven. I guess maybe another reason for that is that it provides a little bit more suspense. You know, there's a little bit more dramatic suspense in only being able to read a sentence or two, so that presented with a paragraph, your mind can't just wander through and pick out and be like, what? Anyway, so how did you find the food of the best fine dining restaurant in Lockhaven, Mr. President? It's okay. I mean, I don't know. I myself am not a foodie. I enjoy good food as much as anyone else, but like, this is, in real life, this is probably what I'd say. Yeah, it was pretty good. Just deflate everybody. I don't know. Should I just do that? Yeah, it's alright. I'm unimpressed. Like, I don't know. I feel like doing anything else is hobnobbing, but at the same time, like, they wouldn't see it that way. Like, for me, from my perspective, it's like, you know, you're trying to get in my good graces with this play that we're doing here, but from their perspective, they would see me as being provincial who can't understand the finer things. So, fuck, I don't know. This one's a little bit more boorish. I don't know. I hate pretension. So these are very pretentious and fucking ridiculous. But I feel like that's kind of also the character I'm cultivating here. He's very high-minded and idealistic and a little bit up in the clouds at times, so like we could continue projecting uh, that impression. I mean, what these people don't realize is that the first chance I get, I'm gonna fuck all of them over. Like that's just, that's the trap card I'm holding on to here. Sure, whatever. Fine food is like fine art, but this particular one is a masterpiece. I know exactly what you mean. Art is something else. It embodies so much about us and the world surrounding our lives. And food can. There is an art of everything. The art of making money, food, wine, and love. I'm sure you would know so much about that. How are things going in the Maroon Palace? The pressure must have increased after you attended that funeral. I mean, the pressure was already high. Yeah, whatever. The pressure was already high, and not much has changed. You will get through this. Oh, I know. Thanks, Mikhail. As we conversed with Mikhail, I heard Walter raise his voice in an apparent argument with Edith and Simon. We both stopped to listen. Arcasia knows the right way of doing business. Their approach to the world is real and raw. I'd prefer that cutthroat approach in comparison to the niceties. Well, I mean, it's a nice country to visit, too. I've traveled there often in business trips. Their attitude on all countries are nice to visit if you have the cash. Oh my. Well, certainly not all, but yeah, let's let them leak this one out. I'm not involved in this. Mikhail joined in. It certainly depends on what you're looking for. Cultural tourism doesn't require a fancy hotel. The last time I went somewhere for that sort of thing was at university, and even then we had our wild times thanks to Conrad's connected entourage. Also, Walter is taking us down the rabbit hole again. By the way, I saw that the construction of the railway has already started. I have my concerns about the company, but I hope they do a good job. That project will surely boost our economy if done correctly. The mood is already becoming positive. I have to congratulate Mr. Rayne for starting such a massive project. Well, thank you for your support, Mr. Avon. Let's try and play them, because I know he's going to disagree. Of course. Mr. Hole also deserves credit, of course, our great economy minister. Is there a joke coming? Why, I thought you said you were great at economy. He laughed. I've heard that you've bought a new villa, Simon. I'm not... can I just say, after appreciating the design choice here, putting, the two lines of dialogue and whatever, I'm not so sure I appreciate the pea green. We could have just gone with something else. Or whatever. I don't comment on rumors, but I'll make an exception since we're among friends. It's true. Okay. Where is the property? It's a small seaside villa at the outskirts of Conrad. It's just a modest house with a swimming pool and a small golf course on the property. Wow. My face is that meme right now. But, Jesus Christ, a small loan of $1 million too? Great city to buy real estate in. So you're becoming a neighbor to Marcel Caronti? Not really. His place is very remote. Conrad has a way of pulling certain people in, it seems. Edith, who was sitting to my left, gently put her hand over my arm for a few seconds. Come on, let's not talk about finances or politics for now. We came here to relax. She turned to Walter and Simon. Isn't that right, gentlemen? They nodded at her and took a sip from their drinks. She slightly leaned towards me. So, Mr. Rayne, why don't you tell us what's behind that strong character of yours? I've heard that you were brought up in the capital and experienced all the power shift as it happened. Is that right? It must have been tough. I mean, honestly, this is none of their business, but, trying to click on her. So she's of the central bank. She grew up in poverty, so she's more sympathetic. Quit her job to work at the renowned global bank. Fuck, I don't know. I mean, this is definitely strong character energy right here. Even though I, as the player, have brought up past decisions for current decisions and their justification several times throughout this series already. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to do this. I try to leave my past behind and focus on today. It's who we've become that matters. That's what I say after a good night of drinking. I never met your family, Mr. President. How are they doing, if you don't mind me asking? We have no problems. I mean, And this is going to spread rumors. Like, no one's going to believe me. We don't talk much since I became president. I mean, that's technically true. We did a lot at the beginning of the game, but it's been less so now. It's actually been a while, now that I think about it. I mean, this is a little unnecessary. And this one is... No one's going to believe that. I don't know. I mean, this would definitely put an end to it. Like, if I say this, you know, it leaves open the possibility for a rebuttal of, oh, really? Tell us more, you know, like, both of these do. But this one is just like, well, I don't know, I don't talk to him much. And then it's just like, what are you going to say to that, you know? We don't talk much since I became president. It can happen. Sometimes work can get in the way. Don't stress yourself over it. Who is Avon again? He's very... He is trying to be my buddy here. Avon is a Sordish businessman, economist, and statesman. He serves on the council. He's co-chair of the council. Okay, so maybe the immigration thing is why he enjoys what... He's also a leader of Gasson. Okay, Arvery is in where? Agonland. Family is everything. My advice would be to make sure that Frank has a solid relationship with you. He is your future, after all. I mean, this is dismissive. What I tell these people has absolutely no bearing on our connection with them, and unless there's an event where these two will meet, and then he'll be like, "Oh, I thought you said he was introverted." I mean, this is kind of dismissive. I feel like he would appreciate this, because this is like doubt. Like this guy is definitely not going to... He's going to judge me for having any kind of doubt. Right? So, like, this is kind of dismissive, saying it's actually his problem. I don't fucking know. This is weird. I really would like to see the mechanics behind the scenes of what these adjust. This game seems very nuanced, but I don't know. Like, you know, the overall difference between these two is so negligible, and yet the way they are worded and everything really matters. They have a totally different energy to them. And again, maybe I'm just overthinking everything. Anyway, he's going through the teenager period. It's difficult to connect with him. He's a little shy. Wish that was my son's biggest problem. Darren seemed to be doing fine. I saw that his yacht party in Benfey made the local news. Well, the rascal didn't even ask for permission to use the yacht and just took it. He basically stole it. Good news is that I finally convinced him to go to university. He'll study economics in Lockhaven Business School. It's a good choice. Having a degree in Sordland separates you from the rabble, and we especially need more people who understand economics. Maybe your son will be a great future economist. I wouldn't count on that. But I agree that we need more economists to enter politics. Thankfully, we have a president who seems to be as well versed in economics as Alfonso. What did I go for? I went for history, right? He turned to me. I'm very confident in your abilities to fix our recession. So he's pro-reform? If he's praising Alfonso, I mean, Alfonso opened things up to free market, right? That's his contribution. Yeah, thank you. I hope we can repair the damages to our economy. We can't fail like Alfonso did. A correction. It wasn't his policies that destroyed him. It was the old guard. See, so this is what I mentioned in the very, 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 very beginning. I think probably the first episode of this series is that you're always going to have the power, in this case the military, in previous times kings and nobles, the aristocracy. Then you have the upstarts, the nouveau riche, the merchant class, who are the foil. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Well. Oh, what do you mean, Walter Tusk? He threatened their economic power base over the country through a vast privatization plan. They removed him and backed you after. Walter, stop with the conspiracy theories. I think we've had enough drinks. Everyone went quiet. After a long silence, followed by some chit-chat. So wait a minute, Walter is chairman. Or is it... Who's the other fucking chairman of this? He's co-chair. He's co-chair with Mikhail. And Simon Hull representing the state sector. Okay. So where does he come in? Lotherberg Group. Okay. After a long silence, followed by some chit-chat, Walter ordered a bottle of whiskey. That's one good-looking bottle. The waiters brought one of the finest Arcasian whiskeys. It was time for a toast. Simon, why don't you give a toast again? Sure. Simon stood up. He seemed to have a slight issue with his balance. May the wheels of fortune always turn in our favor. The future of abundance awaits us. Cheers to that. I think it's time we call it a night. Edith stood up. Most of us were all a little tipsy at this point. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for joining us, and you, Simon, for putting all this together. Wow. What the fuck? I like the fact that you can play act the drunkenness, rather than being like, oh, you shouldn't have had that whiskey, because now this is the only option available. Yeah, okay, it's getting late. Let's call it a night. I agree. Good night, everybody. It was a pleasure. After bidding our farewells, we slowly walked out the restaurant. The moon was shining bright as everyone except Walter left in their luxury cars. President, a moment alone, please. He called me inside the small VIP lounge. What do you want? Usually the Lotherberg spokesman doesn't directly comment on the administration, but I'd like to say a few things since this was a special evening. I'm all ears. Go ahead. Finally, a president that listens to the people. It won't be easy to pass the new Constitution through the Assembly and the Supreme Court. But we could help you get it through if you, in return, help us with a few economic requests. Walter lit his cigar and took a few drags before continuing. The consensus is that we see eye to eye in the economic direction you have taken by promoting a market economy, okay, but not anything else then, huh? Okay, well, that's good to know, but I'm not sure how this concerns me. Oh, it definitely should, Mr. President. He looked me in the eye. You rejected our previous discreet offer to pick underhaul construction for the execution of the first mega infrastructure project. This action led to disappointment in the group. We're aware of the upcoming tax meeting, and it would be a step in the right direction if private corporations would get a tax cut. To boost the economy with job creation, of course, and the positive side effect would be our support to the administration throughout the entire term. I'll make the tax decisions objectively. I can't promise you anything. Well, let's not be hasty. The recession will end if Lotharberg is on your side, President. Why can't we all just be friends? Well, maybe we can. I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Glad to hear this. The group wants a private corporation tax cut and privatization in healthcare and education. Jesus Christ. We couldn't just walk away at that point? I should have just walked away at that point. I mean, this is a promise. I'm not committed to this. So which is going to be worse now? Rejecting him now, or promising to get him off my back and then totally disappointed because I'm not going to do this. I'm definitely not going to do this. I think this is too much of an ask. On third thought, I have to reject. Oh, that's a shame. I did offer you a peace branch. There was an awkward silence. Either way, President, we are here and always ready to work with you if you change your mind. Don't forget that. I'll think about it, but not now. Walter left and Sergei came to pick me up. Enter the car. I entered the car and we drove to our residence in Lockhaven. Sergei took the seaside route. Wow. I mean, I could have just brushed him off. Well, let's read the news first. The Whole Sword Post. Bill on the Rights of Workers being drafted. The Grand National Assembly of Sordland will vote on a bill on Thursday to protect workers' rights in Sordland that supporters are calling the most ambitious pro-labor legislation in decades. And which one USP representative has dismissed as the worst bill in the Assembly. The Workers' Protection Act has strong support from both the PFJP and the NFP, as well as labor leaders. The bill was a result of bipartisan effort from the leading figures of the PFJP as well as Ministry of Health, led by Pascal Benowall. It was proposed to the Assembly by Representative Albin Clavin from the USP. The Workers' Protection Act amends the Labor Act by establishing a minimum wage of 2.5 or 2.5 SR per hour and added guidelines on overtime work as well as safety and protection guidelines. It also extends the rights of workers to all migrants, acknowledging their rights as workers in Sordland. The bill also makes it illegal for corporations to force workers to do unpaid overtime work. Companies who fail to abide by the rules established with the bill will be heavily fined by the government and may be forced to face legal action. Some estimates suggest costs for those firms would increase by 50% if they have to treat workers according to the proposed laws, if they have to treat workers like human beings. Despite the bill coming from the governing USP, it faces a huge opposition inside the party. However, with the support of the PFJP and NFP, the bill has a high chance of passing the Assembly. Sordland today. President meets with Business Council. Our sources have reported that yesterday President Rayne had a meeting with the Business Council behind closed doors in Lockhaven, which later continued with a dinner in a five-star Asteria restaurant with leading figures from the council. The agenda of the meeting was not disclosed, and the contents of the meeting remain a secret, but it can be expected that President Rayne has discussed the future economic plans of his administration, as well as listening to the concerns of the leading industry figures. The outcome of the meeting will hopefully arrive quickly, with positive developments and more transparency compared to today. Morbol mine disaster, 112 dead. Disaster hit Morbol last night. Where is that again? In Lauren, that's what I thought. When one of the main support shafts in the Morbol coal mine collapsed, trapping many coal miners inside. The collapsing structure has also started an underground fire, turning the sky black with ash and sorrow in Morbol today. As reported by the government, the current death toll sits at 112 dead, with many other miners still trapped inside. The rescue operations are continuing without any sleep. Investigators have told us that this might have happened due to the neglect of the Nedham mining group. Families of miners and people of Morbol showed up in protest at the site of the disaster. Coincidentally, the workers' rights bill that has been drafted in the Assembly for the past few months comes too late. The eyes of Sordland are now turned to President Rayne to see his decision on the bill. Is that what that is? Didn't we just read about another mine collapse not too long ago and something about that mining group? It's a bit of an issue. Ribel. School poisoning connected to British woman. Vilma Asir, who was working at the school kitchen, was apprehended with connections to last week's school cafeteria poisoning in Ribel. The act was found to be politically motivated, as the perpetrators are connected to the banned British Freedom Party. Asir is suspected to have been an active member of the British Freedom Front since the start of this year. She has been sentenced to 60 years in prison. Car bomb attack in Arvory. A car parked in an Agno-Sordish-dominated neighborhood in the outskirts of Arvory has exploded. Arvory police report that there were no casualties or injuries. The initial investigation found that the car was rigged with a timed bomb. No perpetrators have been found connected to the incident so far. Further investigations are ongoing and details have not been shared with the public. That's not good. That's the one place we haven't had problems so far. Alright. Well, what's next? The budget allocation. Okay, here we go. See you next time.